scriptures in my sermon are from the NIV version. It is entitled, Created to Worship. I love to worship. There's something about waking up in the morning and spending time with God. As I drink my coffee, I see birds bathing and raising their wings in worship as they dry. And I see pine trees with their leaves raised. And I see flowers with their leaves raised. And I just breathe in the newness of the day. I'm a part of the worship team at my church. We sing and dance and help usher everyone into the presence of God. Sometimes there's flashing lights and smoky fog. And to many people, that is their definition of worship. But here's the thing, everything we do is an act of worship. When you give $1 to the homeless person on the side of the road, or when you hold the door open to someone, even if it's someone you don't really care for, that too are all acts of worship. And this may come as a shocker, but we aren't the only ones created to worship our Lord. In Luke 19:40, it says, "I tell you," he replied, "if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out." Wait, they don't mean literally. Have you heard of earthquakes and the ground shaking? That's rocks crying out, just saying. Check this out. Micah 1:4 says, "The mountains melt beneath him and the valleys split apart, like wax before the fire, like water rushing down a slope." That's volcanoes and earthquakes, and I refuse to be out-worshipped by them. This tiny dog I had, her name was Zena. She always wanted to be with us during our Bible studies. If she was locked in a different room, she would bark her head off. If we were reading anything else, it was fine, but once we got out the Bible, she wouldn't have it. She needed to be there with us. Did you know that animals and nature are constantly worshiping God? Louis Giglio has a sermon based on whales and stars giving praise. That's right, stars make noise, and each star has a different sound. Now, who do you think they're making sounds for? Did you know that your main worship leader is your pastor? People think that worship ends when the music stops, but your pastor is still worshiping as they preach. In Webster's dictionary, the definition of worship is to honor with extravagant love and extreme submission. God has given us gifts and talents to help honor his name and give him the glory that he alone deserves. But sometimes we forget this. In Psalms 148, it says that everyone and everything was made to worship the Lord. You ready? All the heavens, angels, heavenly hosts, the sun, moon, stars, and rain, all sea creatures and ocean depths, lightning, hail, snow, clouds and stormy winds, mountains and hills, fruit trees and cedars, wild animals, all cattle, small creatures and birds, kings and all nations, princes and rulers, men and women, young and old, and children. In verse 13, it says, "Let them praise the name of the Lord, for his name alone is exalted. His splendor is above the earth and the heavens." We attend ball games and shout out praises with no problem. We're on fire the whole time we're there, and we're in awe of the players, and we are honored to be in their presence. Yet they don't know us by name, and they surely wouldn't die for us. But God knows the number of hairs on our head. He hears every cry. He is there 24/7. He is quick to forgive and remembers our sin no more. He never reminds you of your past. How often does he hear our shouts of praise, or is it only when we need something? Do we accuse him of not answering our prayers, or are we just upset that he didn't answer it the way we wanted him to? Genesis 1:26 says, "Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground.'" God gave us dominion over all these creatures, and they all continuously worship God. If we would just pause and see all of God's glory surrounding us, wouldn't we worship continuously also?
No, 3 o'clock. So we